So as you know, I'm Katie, and I'm Eric's sister. To begin, there are a multitude of people who deserve credit and appreciation. Law enforcement agencies across the state of Utah, the Summit County Prosecutor's Office, the Medical Examiner's Office, expert witnesses who worked hand in hand with law enforcement, Eric's friends, Eric's co-workers, my friends and my family, our entire team of lawyers and experts in the civil lawsuit. There are far too many people to mention by name, and I suspect if I try to, I will inadvertently leave someone out. But to all of you, please know that this would not be possible without your efforts, your support, and the strength of the community that has stood beside us. Both my family and I are forever grateful to each of you. I am also very grateful to you, Your Honor, to this court for the dignified manner in which it presided over the trial, and to the members of the jury for faithfully performing their civic duties. Okay, today is Eric's birthday. I stand before you because he can't. He was taken away from my dad, my sister, his nieces, his friends, our community, and worst of all, from his 3 amazing sons. Sorry. He was taken away from us by a person he should have been able to trust, the person he should have trusted most in the world, his wife. It's impossible to fully describe how devastating Eric's death and Kouri's crimes have been to our family. Nearly every aspect of our lives has been permanently changed, and we have no choice but to live with those changes and with Eric's loss forever. Eric was a phenomenal brother, father, son, nephew, grandson, cousin, friend, and businessman. Eric and I were extremely close. We went through school together and navigated life side by side. Wherever Eric went, I was usually tagging along right behind. In school, Eric's nickname was Richie, and mine was Little Richie, a reflection on how inseparable we were. He wasn't just my brother. He was my constant, my protector, and one of my closest friends. Eric was the kind of father who anticipated his children's needs before they ever had to ask. He made sure they were always having fun, taught them how to be respectful and kind, and was constantly planning for their future. His mind and heart was always on his boys, always. Everything he did was for them. Eric was the very best uncle. He made his nieces, my daughters, feel truly special. He always found ways to have fun with them. He doted on them with love and attention. Eric was an incredible son, always there for my parents, stepping in without hesitation and helping in every way he could without being asked. The bond he shared with my mom was truly special. We would often joke that the umbilical cord had never really been cut, but in truth, it spoke to the deep, unbreakable love they had for each other. This is who Eric truly was, a man defined by love, integrity, and unwavering devotion to his family. He is none of the things that Kouri tried to portray him as. Those mischaracterizations were nothing more than a vile effort to deflect blame. And those mischaracterizations stand in stark contrast to the reality of the man we all knew and loved. Eric's life and his actions and the profound impact he had on those around him speak for themselves, and they tell a story of goodness, strength, and character that cannot be rewritten or diminished. The saddest part for me in all of this is that I got something with Eric that his sons never did: time. I feel cheated that I only got to spend a few decades with my brother, but I should feel lucky in comparison. As Eric's eldest son told me shortly after his dad's death, he and his brothers did not even get 10 years with their dad. It is devastating that Eric is not here to coach them, to work the family ranch with them, to teach them how to drive, to attend their high school graduation, to send them off to college, to see them get married, or to celebrate the birth of his future grandchildren. His 3 sons are going to grow up and live nearly their entire lives without their dad. They're going to get to know their dad more from the stories we tell about them than their actual experiences. In all likelihood, by the time they are each 44 years old, which is how old Eric would be today, they will have little to no actual memories of Eric. And they have to go through life without their dad because their mother planned and carried out his murder. She could not have done anything more selfish or more cruel to those boys. In the place of a stable, secure, and loving home, Kouri gave the boys permanent trauma. They were in the house the night she killed their father. They were awake. They knew that something terrible had happened to their dad. As we heard on the 911 call during trial, one of them even walked into Eric's bedroom where Eric's body lay dead, poisoned by someone who his sons should have been able to unconditionally trust, love, and depend on. No child should have to bear that trauma. But Eric's 3 innocent sons will bear that burden, and they will bear it for the rest of their lives. Kouri's selfishness and cruelty did not end with Eric's murder. In the time after Eric's death, Kouri has done nothing but isolate, manipulate, deceive, and do harm to those boys. Almost immediately after Eric died, she cut them off completely from our family, from Eric's family. The isolation was calculated and strategic. Kouri used the boys as bargaining chips with my dad. She repeatedly threatened not to let him see his grandsons unless he could convince me, as Eric's trustee of his trust, to capitulate to her legal demands and give her all the trust assets. While isolating the boys, Kouri provided them with false and harmful information about me and my family. When DCFS took custody of the boys following Kouri's arrest and asked where they would like to go, they expressed fear of my family. The fear was not based on reality, but on what they had been told. For over a year, Kouri led them to believe that I hated them, that I was attempting to take Eric's money for myself, and that I intended for them to be left without support, that they would be homeless and starving. These statements were entirely false and had no basis in reality. Had they not been subjected to that influence, they would have known the truth. Prior to Eric's death, our families were very close. My daughters and his sons had strong friendships, and I had a meaningful individual relationship with each of my nephews. I spent time riding horses with one, helping another identify summer coding programs, and the youngest participated in ice skating lessons with my daughters. Our families shared holidays, worked together on our family ranch, took trips together, and I was present the day each of the boys were born in the hospital. The boys have expressed their confusion about these circumstances. They have stated that prior to their father's passing, both Eric and Kouri frequently told them if anything were to happen, they should go with me, that I would care for them and support them. Following Eric's death, however, those messages changed. After Eric passed away, Kouri prevented all contact between our family and the boys. She prohibited communication and continued to provide them with false information about us. When we were finally able to see the boys again, approximately 15 months after Eric's death, the boys hardly recognized the relationship we had. Instead, they viewed my family and me with fear and hesitation, as though we were strangers. Kouri also went to great lengths to jeopardize the boys' financial futures. I know you are very aware of this. But among other things, she drained the personal bank accounts that Eric had set up for his boys as college funds. She allowed the boys' Social Security survivor benefits to be funneled to individuals who were not taking care of the boys. And she sued me in my role as Eric's trustee and personal representative, not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. The goal of her lawsuits is singular. She wants all of Eric's assets for herself. Despite her lies and fanciful public portrayal, she knows that none of Eric's assets are going to me, my dad, or my sister. In fact, she knows exactly where Eric wanted everything to go, and that is to his boys. And yet, for 4 years, she has aggressively tried to take their inheritance from them. Even now, despite her erroneous debt, a murder conviction, and a string of pending felony financial charges, Kouri's civil lawsuits live on. Those lawsuits have been emotionally grueling, all-consuming, and unimaginably expensive. And tragically, every dollar on those suits is a dollar that Eric's boys will not get. Of course, Kouri can't have other people or the public thinking that she's trying to take away her children's inheritance. So for the past 4 years, both in court and in the media, she has demonized and vilified me. She has hurled wild accusations in my direction, including that I hacked her bank accounts, forged her bank statements, paid off witnesses, unduly pressured law enforcement into investigating her, and quietly pulled the Summit County prosecutor strings. It is despicable that for doing nothing more than trying to honor Eric's wishes, Kouri has cast me as the evildoer here. Just as bad, honoring Eric's wishes has landed my sister and myself and unbelievably my 2 daughters in Kouri's crosshairs. One of Eric's sons recently told me that Kouri used to say, "I will get them one day." Apparently she was talking about me, my sister, and my daughters. Her infamous walk the dog letter, the part the jury did not hear, confirms her desire to harm me. In it, she talks at length about her plans to get at Amy and me, including by targeting my daughters, both of whom are under the age of 10. It takes a sick mind to target children. The mere thought that someone who has so little regard for human life or decency might one day walk free is horrifying. I worry about the safety of Eric's boys, my daughters, my sister, and myself. There is nothing Kouri will not do, and no one she will not hurt to achieve her own selfish ends. I am not the only one that is afraid. There are 3 little boys who, instead of fearing those who love and adore them, as Kouri would prefer, worry constantly that Kouri might show up one day and take them away. Eric's sons deserve so much better. They are not bargaining chips. They are not cash cows. They are not props for some twisted children's book about grief and loss. And yet that is what they've been reduced to by Kouri. To my unending sadness and horror, Eric himself understood all too well the danger she posed to his children and to his family. When Eric told me he had changed his estate planning and appointed me as his trustee and personal representative, I begged him to end the marriage and go his separate way. By that point, he had already consulted with a divorce attorney and was deeply afraid that he might not be awarded sole custody of his children. He made the heartbreaking decision to stay because he could not accept the risk of what might happen to his sons if Kouri had equal custody. He told me he would live his life through hell every single day of his life until his youngest was 18 because he believed Kouri was the most evil person he had ever met. He knew that his sons did not like her. He told me as much many times. He knew that they would prefer to be far away from her. But he also knew that divorce carried significant risks. And he said he could never allow his children to spend half of their time alone with her because he was certain they would be exposed to harm and things no child should ever experience. He made it clear that in his mind, if Kouri were given equal custody, his children would be in the care of someone he believed to be deeply dangerous. He feared the people they could be exposed to and the damage that could be done. At the same time, he spoke with deep love and admiration for his boys. He told me that they were the most amazing boys in the world and that none of this was their choice and none of it was their fault, and that he would do everything in his power to protect them for as long as he possibly could. Kouri loves to go on and on about how this case is a media sensation. She's right. News outlets from here to Europe have covered it. There have been countless newspaper articles, podcasts, and TV specials about it. Every hearing is live streamed on numerous YouTube channels. Every filing is scrutinized by internet lawyers and true crime junkies. There is no question that this case is famous and that Kouri is now famous. But what Kouri never mentions in talking about her fame and notoriety are the reasons why this case is now famous. It is famous for how appalling and sickening it is. It is famous because a mother meticulously planned to kill her husband, killed him while their children were sleeping in the next room, and then had the audacity to hold herself out as the author of a children's book about grief and loss. It is famous because she spent time Googling luxury prisons for the rich in America. It is famous because from her jail cell, she scripted a bunch of phony testimony so that her brother could perpetrate a fraud on the court. It is famous because she victimized her own children and threatened to victimize Eric's nieces. The fame and attention are directly proportional to the evil that has gone on here. This is not a situation where the idea of rehabilitation should be entertained. In taking Eric's life for her own selfish gain, Kouri did not only harm Eric, she permanently harmed 3 kids who were under the age of 10. She took away a dad, a son, a brother, an uncle, a grandson, a nephew, a cousin, and a friend. Eric's death has caused immeasurable pain to so many. Obviously, there's nothing the court can do about that. And you cannot bring him back. But what you can do is give Kouri's victims at least some measure of closure. To that end, I ask that the court impose a sentence that ensures Kouri never has the opportunity to harm Eric's children or our family again. Please do not let my brother's life be worth nothing more than a 25-year punishment. Please do not leave those boys to wonder whether Kouri might track them or their children down in the future. Please do not create a possibility for Kouri to endanger Eric's boys, my daughters, my family, or anyone else ever again. Please sentence Kouri to a life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
This victim impact statement painted a devastating picture of the lasting damage caused by Eric's death. Katie's remarks focused not only on the murder itself, but on the emotional, financial, and psychological consequences left behind for Eric's 3 sons and extended family. The prosecution's narrative centered on betrayal, manipulation, and premeditation. Kouri was described as someone who isolated the children, fought over financial assets, and continued legal battles even after the conviction. Katie repeatedly emphasized that the children became the true long-term victims of the case. The courtroom tone remained deeply emotional but structured. Katie's delivery combined grief with detailed accusations about conduct before and after the killing. Her statement also reinforced the prosecution's portrayal of Eric as a devoted father and family man, directly rejecting claims made against his character during the trial. In closing, the family urged the court to impose a sentence of life without parole, arguing that public safety and permanent protection for the children must remain the court's highest priority.